Good evening, everyone. My name is Hinisha Malone, and I am the Vice President of the West Garfield Park Youth Council. And we believe that we are the solution to the issues in our community. Our theme is Nothing With Us Without Us. The West Garfield Park Youth Council is sponsored by Fathers Who Care, which is a nonprofit organization located on the west side of Chicago within the West Garfield Park community. Again, my name is Hinisha Malone, and I am the Vice President of the West Garfield Park Youth Council. The West Garfield Park Youth Council is comprised of young people from our community whose focus and concern is youth leadership and a voice within the community to reduce senseless violence and illegal substance use. We invite people from all over, especially young people, to come in and see what we are all about. Our show will be scheduled every Thursday at 7 p.m. Again, that is every Thursday at 7 p.m. Our shows can also be viewed online at www.cantv.org/live. Again, that website is www.cantv.org/live. Well, everyone, I would love to introduce my guest for today. This is Damien Morris. He is the Chief Program Officer of Violence Prevention at Breakthrough. Would you like to introduce yourself a little?
Yes, so definitely thank you. My name is Damien Morris. Once again, I am the Chief Program Officer of Violence Prevention. Been with the organization for 16 years in a variety of positions, from case management to now Chief Program Officer.
Okay. Thank you for being a guest on tonight's show.
Yes, thanks for having me.
Again, everyone, my name is Hinisha Malone, and I am the Vice President of the West Garfield Park Youth Council. You are watching a live interactive call-in television program brought to you by CanTV 21. During the next 25 minutes, we are going to discuss what is the state of violence in the city of Chicago. And now I have just a few questions for you. So who are you and what is your purpose for existing?
Yes, so I am a gentleman who was once just as involved, right? And when I was released from incarceration, I was given an opportunity, and I also was provided with a positive support system, and that allowed me to be in a position to give back and then offer that same support system to others who are at risk.
Okay. So what made you go into the field of being a Chief Program Officer for Violence Prevention at Breakthrough?
Yes, I think it was really through ongoing training. I took initiative to really improve myself professionally. Mm-hmm. And what I did was I applied what I've learned to the field, and I tweaked it based off my personality, right? And also provided a strategy too as well.
Okay. So what position did you start at? Like when you started 16 years ago, what were you doing?
I was a program assistant 16 years ago. I was really helping men who were experiencing homelessness. I was coaching them and getting them prepared to have sustainable housing.
Okay, that's nice. So with that process, how did y'all go out and see who needed it, or did they come to y'all? How did y'all do that?
Yes, so they came to us, and then we intake them. We identify some barriers that they was faced with. Okay. Then we start working on eliminating those barriers and addressing substance abuse if that was the case, lack of employment, lack of housing, or hard to house as well. So we identified those barriers and eliminated those.
Okay. So what is your purpose and mission on the west side of Chicago?
Man, my purpose and mission is to collaborate with like-minded individuals such as myself, but also with the youth who are just as passionate about reducing violence and seeing a better community, just like me.
Okay. So what do you feel the biggest issue our communities are facing right now is?
Yes, the biggest issue is really finding programming for what we call at-promise youth. So those are youth who are between the ages of 13 to 17 years of age who run the risk of becoming either a perpetrator of gun violence or a victim of gun violence.
So you feel like they don't have access to these programs?
Yes, so even though we have those programs available, because of the risk level, they cannot access them for safety purposes.
Okay. So do you feel like it would be better for y'all to go into schools, or are y'all already in schools? Because that's where the students are, so y'all will reach them better in schools.
Yeah, so what we're starting to see a trend of youth who's been disengaged from school. So those who've been disengaged from school, they have a 90% chance of either getting arrested or, like I said, becoming a perpetrator of gun violence or a victim of gun violence.
Okay. Yeah. So what do you think our community lacks?
The community lacks unity, right?
Yeah.
They lack unity, but also they lack the initiative to govern themselves, right? So we can't rely on the police to do everything, right? We have to bring back that old how should I put this here? That old mentality where we looked out for one another, right? We knew who was next door to us, right? We need to bring that back.
Yeah, I do feel like the community lacks that also because, like I was saying on like one of the like last shows, like when I used to live in the city and I lived on Pulaski and like Van Buren, and like I lived there for a year, but I never knew nobody that lived on my block. Like I wasn't really interested in trying to find out. Like I never really went outside and was just like, oh, let me go talk to the neighbors. It was kind of like, I don't really know what I was thinking, but I just felt like, I don't know, like, I just feel like the community is missing that. And it's like that thing that we have to not really try to talk to our neighbors, I feel like that's rooted from something. Like, we didn't just start being like, oh, yeah, I'm never going to talk to my neighbors. It had to be something that triggered us to, like, be this way. So I feel like it's, like, something that's not being instilled in us that were instilled in y'all when y'all were growing up. Because I know y'all talk about how, like, on the block, like, the all of the adults knew who the kids were, and if they did something wrong, they'd say something to them. But now it's like, oh, no, don't say nothing to me. I don't know you. You're not my mama. So it's like, I feel like we need some of those values and morals instilled in us so that we can, like, present ourselves better and actually go and try to talk to these people in our communities, because it's like the community can't really work together to fix an issue if the community don't even know who the community is. Like, they don't know each other. Yeah. So they can't really, like, work together, you know?
Yes, I agree with you totally. Yeah.
So what can be done in terms of reducing and preventing violence throughout the west side of Chicago?
Yes, we need a better relationship between violence prevention organizations, the community itself, as well as CPD.
Okay. Yeah. So what do we like? What things do we like need from them in specific terms?
More. So we need consistency. We need communication amongst the three. Yeah. But then we also need a professional understanding amongst the three as well. So sometimes the community see violence prevention similar to CPD, and that's not the case, right? And so we need to really be consistent in how we reach out to each other, communicate, whether we have a recurring meeting, but so that we can get an understanding of what it is that we do, what it is that we don't do, and how can we come together to make a greater impact. So
you feel like this, like CPD and law enforcement should come together with these violence prevention groups so that they can discuss and go over like the resources and the power that they have to like inflict better onto the community.
Yes, and then also the community as well have to do their part as well, so they just can't rely on CPD and violence prevention organizations, but they also have to take part in bettering the community as well.
Yeah, I agree, because I feel like a lot of people, like when we talk about, like, why we don't have this and this and this in the community, but it's like if we don't advocate for that, they're not just gonna give it to us, they're not gonna hand it to us. So like we have to go and like ask them for it. Like how we have a food desert in the area from like I don't really know how to put it in, like, but it's like from, I know, like Madison, like all over there, Chicago Avenue and Division, like over there, like it's really no grocery stores. Like the only grocery store, if you lived in the area, you would probably have to go on North Avenue to go to like Food for Less or go to Walmart, or you would have to go to the Aldi's that's on Central. But that's the only thing that's over there for people to go to get like groceries and get actual food and like fruit. And some people can't travel all these places, so it's like, why wouldn't they have it in their community? But it's like, if the people in the communities don't advocate for it, they're not just gonna give it to us. Like, even though it should be a basic human, like it's a basic human need, we should have grocery stores. But in our reality, we have to advocate for what we want. So it's like, if we as a community don't talk to each other and like reach out to each other and then advocate for what we want, to see what the issues is, and like advocate it to like our elected officials and the aldermen and stuff like that, then it's really like they probably just won't do it. So we have to like communicate with each other and talk to each other. Like, I understand I like that on my part, so it might sound a little bit contradicting coming from me, but like that's actually true. We actually do need to talk about it. Like, even though I don't do it, that don't make it right. So I feel like we do need to like start talking to each other and stuff like that. So what time of day does the most violent crimes happen according to your data?
Yes, according to our data, we're starting to see crimes happen between 6 p.m. and probably like 12 midnight.
Okay. So like what's going on like in those times, and why do you think those times are like so like it's just super like prevalent that crime is going on?
Yes, so during those times right there, especially like in the East Garfield Park community, you have areas where large gatherings happen, right? So you can see anywhere from 100 to 300 people gather in a matter of 30 minutes, right? And so during those hours right there, that's really like the peak times, right? And so that's when people are out, they're gathering. You may see somebody that you were into with before, or there may be an individual who are maybe a target, right? And they feel like they could blend in with the group. And sometimes that presents a dangerous atmosphere, right? And so that's when we're starting to see an uptick in violence during that time.
Okay. Yeah. So how much community involvement is needed to reduce crime in our neighborhoods?
That's hard to put like a percentage on that because like I get paid to do violence reduction, right, or violence prevention. So asking a community member who may have a main job and their job is not to reduce violence, I can't put a percentage on it, but I'm really asking if you can just give us at least 10% of your time, right? We can figure things out and we can make something happen with just that 10%.
Yeah, I feel like we as a community just need to learn how to like prioritize our community, because I feel like people can prioritize a lot of different things. Like, it's okay, I'm gonna work this amount of hours and probably go out on this time and stuff like that. But I do understand people have kids and people like going through stuff and they have to work a job. So sometimes they probably feel like I can't really worry about everybody else when I got to get myself together, or I got to get me and my children together and stuff like that. So it's just like trying to put stuff in perspective. Like, okay, yeah, they probably do want what's best for the community, but they don't really have what it takes to like be 100% in it, you know?
Yes.
Yeah. So why is the work you do so important?
Man, the work that I do is so important because somebody have to do it, but also as well, I'm determined to make a difference, right? Especially in my position, especially for the men and women who work for me as well, but then also the partners who are doing similar work. So it's very important because we're actually putting our life at risk to save others. So it matters.
Okay. So what other organizations do you partner with that people can get resources from? So if they were to come to you and they needed like other resources that you all probably want to have, like those people that you connect them with.
Yes. There's a lot of organizations. So it's about 28 organizations.
Okay.
And so I can't name them all. But if you can, reach out to me at 773-707-3075. And let me know what neighborhood that you reside in, and I can definitely connect you with the partnering organization.
So what community do you work with the most, would you say?
Yes, so Breakthrough is the lead agency for violence prevention in East Garfield Park.
Okay. Yeah. And like what can people expect when they come to Breakthrough? Like what if somebody just needed somebody to talk to? Like what are all those resources do y'all have? Like what if somebody didn't really need like a place to stay or anything like that? Like they just needed like somebody that they could reach their hand out to, like mentorship and stuff like that.
Yes, especially with the youth. So we have our event coordinator. She actually been working on providing internal financial opportunities for our youth. So they are stipend to be events management assistants, right?
Okay.
So if we do have youth between the ages of, I'd say 16 and about 20, then we can work on getting some employment for them.
Okay.
If you are old and you need someone to talk to, we do have a violence prevention office that you can stop by. And we have a 24/7 outreach team that's available as well. So we do have people available for you to talk to as well.
So what kind of events do what they set up? Like what events are they?
Yes, what we call them light in the night events. So
Okay.
we actually host about 25 to 27 events throughout the year. And the idea is to reclaim safe spaces. So if we have parks that normally have been dominated by the gangs or what we call street organizations, and now the community is shying away from it because the gangs are present there. What we do is we actually empower the community to come back out, encourage them to come back out and participate with us as we show consistency by having food, music, a variety of themed events, and then long after we're gone, we expect for the community to really come back and reclaim that space.
Okay. So how long have y'all been doing these events?
Since we've been doing these events since 2018. 2018.
Okay. Have y'all ever worked with Fathers Who Care with these events?
Some we do what we call cross collaboration.
Okay.
And so we do partner up with other organizations and we just brainstorm on how we can come together, what area that we can collaborate in and just make a greater impact like I mentioned before.
So why do you feel like the youth in the community, they don't really seek these resources? Why do you feel like they're so hesitant on coming to like organizations such as Breakthrough?
I say one of the reasons why is because, and I'm gonna be honest, the inconsistency, right? And then also the time that it takes to really earn a youth trust. I started a youth program about 4 years ago, and so like the average time that it took for me to really gain that youth trust was about 10 weeks, right? So it's more about action with the youth rather than just saying something, right? They actually want you to show them that you care, that you really gonna come through for them, right?
Yeah.
Because sometimes they have trusted people and people let them down or betrayed their trust, and so now they have their guards up, and so so I can see that.
Yeah, I do get that because I know a lot of like staff in different schools. I don't feel like they really consider that when it comes to like they parents probably don't pay them much attention, or people in their family don't pay them much attention. So when they come to schools and stuff, they try to seek that attention, but sometimes they don't seek it in the most positive ways. But due to that, they'll like suspend them from school, and then that'll like make their connection with schools tarnished as well as their relationships at home. So I feel like the staff the staff and schools need to pay more attention to the students and like what they have going on outside of school and actually factor that, because then it's like they won't really reach out, like you said, reach out to these organizations because they don't feel like anybody listens to them, or if somebody tries to say anything to them, it's like, okay, they don't mean it. And it's like they'll say one thing to a student or like to a youth, and then like they probably won't say anything else to them about it, and they never hear about it, and they just like go about their way.
Yeah.
And like with consistency, I feel like youth like that. Like when you call like teachers, for instance, who call your mom and say, okay, I think I need your student to get this assignment done for me, or I need your child to get this assignment done to like finish it because I don't want them to fall behind. Because there's some people who's like, okay, they'll say they care about school, but then it's like they just coming there to get paid. They don't really care about the students. So like the youth really need to know that you care about them and stuff like that. So what did you do in those 10 weeks to gain their trust?
Well, part of my training is trauma-informed care, right? So understanding that even though the youth are younger, they're dealing with their own trauma as well, right? And so they're young where they can't really handle it, right? But so they're going about it the best way that they see fit.
Yeah.
And so by me being trained in trauma-informed care, I really make sure that it's a safe space for them, right? I check in with them, and we kind of like really touch on how they may feel physically, spiritually, mentally, and emotionally, right?
Yeah.
And so that's how I start off the programming for that day.
Yeah.
And so that worked, right? So 10 weeks, like they really I really gained their trust. They rely on me because now I show them that I'm dependable and that I'm someone that they can trust, right?
Yeah.
But also too, they see that whoever I welcome in that space, that I'm very protective of them as well, right? So that's huge.
Yeah. So what is something that you wish somebody told you when you were younger that you think you could use, that you think you could have used?
I would say if somebody would have told me like I'm next in line, right? Because like for me being older, like we're really relying on our younger generation to carry the torch, right?
Yeah.
And so like you really have to pour into them, and you really have to get them to believe that you believe in them, right? So
Right,
then they have some type of ownership and accountability because you believe in that they can be the next one up, right?
Yeah.
So I wish somebody would have told me that, like, man, you're next up, right? And so, yeah.
It would have made you want to work harder towards the future.
Yes.
So what is some voice of wisdom that you would like to share with the viewers?
Yes, I would say please get involved, right? Get involved with community-based organizations who are doing violence prevention, right? And there's a lane for everyone. So you don't have to be that person that's speaking to the men and women who are just as involved, right? You could come in and serve and pass out flyers and help canvas, right? Or help spread the word, right? That may be your lane. Or you may be able to connect us to other sponsors and stuff like that for events. So everybody have a lane in violence prevention, right? It's just not one specific bucket that you would fit in, right? We have different lanes for everybody. So please get involved. Please come out. Please use that number, right? 773-707-3075.
Yeah, I think people don't really understand that it's like lanes in violence prevention, because honestly, I didn't. Like when I heard violence prevention, it was just like, okay, yeah, y'all, let's go out and let's try to stop it. Like let's try to stop them from committing like violence and stuff like that. And it seemed like really hard, because it's like, how are you gonna stop somebody from doing something? Because it's like it's a lot of stuff that's rooted from like years ago, like the rivals that's going on in the community, people being into it with each other, arguing, and then like the access to guns now, like it's way higher than it's been. So like when they have all of this access, plus with all of this rage and argument going on, sometimes I'd be feeling like how do you stop that? And like you can't stop it without getting like in touch with the people. So like when it comes to getting in touch with people that's in these like rivalries and stuff like that, do you feel like it's harder to connect with them because they have this like ongoing rivalry that they're keeping up with?
Yeah, so part of our strategy is we hire men and women who can relate, right? So they are from the community. They have a good relationship with the men and women that's in that community that may be participating in those high-risk activities.
Yeah.
And so anytime that we have a critical incident or mediation that we need to step in, like we really rely on our men and women who are employed as outreach workers and case coordinators to really give us insight on how we should approach it and then provide a strategy behind it. So
and then when it comes to like bringing them in, or like bringing them into like bringing them into breakthrough, do you feel like that would be like the most challenging?
So what we do is we actually have a debriefing. So we may choose a neutral location that they feel comfortable with going to, right? And then it all depends. We may talk to both parties separately at first, just so that we can get a sense of what the temperature is like and how they feel. And then we kind of like decide on, if it's a best time for them to meet each other, or we use virtual, right? We use virtual for them to have those talks. So therefore, they're in a safe space individually, but we bringing them together virtually to mediate the conflict.
Like talk to each other, because if you always have this mindset that like, okay, if we into it, then I'm never speaking to you, I'm never doing this, like it creates like this barricade in your mind. Like it creates like a mental block, and you can't really get past that because you stuck on like one argument. So it's like y'all helping them like get over that stump.
Yes. And also too, because that can be handed down to the next generation. So like I mentioned about somebody speaking into the youth that they are the next ones up in a positive manner, right? If I hold on to this historical conflict, then I'm passing that history down to the next generation, and they are the next person up to keep that negative energy going. So
I understand that, because like the children only gonna do what they see, and they only gonna like act on what they hear, what people say to them. So like you give them positivity and tell them, okay, yeah, like you said, you're next up. You have to be like this and this and this. Like you have to be one of the good role models that you have to set for yourself and for the people around you.
Yes.
So I understand that. So if someone is watching and is in need of immediate intervention and or your support, how can they reach you?
Yes, please reach me at 773-707-3075. If I don't pick up the phone, please shoot me a text. Give me your location or give me the surrounding area. And what we would do is we will have a outreach team to kind of like go through the community, engage with the men and women in that community and provide resources as well.
And I also want to mention the Fathers Who Care MySpace Drop-In Center. This is for people ages 13 to 24, Monday through Friday from 3 to 6. And it is at 4540 West Washington, where they provide life skill workshops, homework assistance, games, trips, snacks, anything that you could think of, mentorship. If you need somebody to talk to, they have this, and you can contact them at 773-287-5821. I'm sorry. If you are just tuning in, our guest tonight on the show is Damien Morris, and we are discussing what is the state of violence in the city of Chicago. We would love to thank our viewers for watching. For additional information about our youth council, please contact us at 773-287-5821 and ask for Miss Princess. Thank you, and tune in next week, same time, same station. Bye.
Take care, y'all.